camera. I already reset you. What are you doing over here again? What? Is it the tomatoes? What's so special, camera? Hi, chat. Welcome in, everyone. Hello, I'm Chef Jay Tay. I'm unsure why one of my programs isn't running tonight, so I don't exactly have great view of chat. Oh, actually, I can do that. I can fix that. I can fix that. Give me one moment here. It's gonna be more than a second. Don't want to lie to you. Let's see here. And then pop out. Why did my music stop? Something changed with the audio? Looks like it's still going to you. Why am I not hearing any of this? Lovely. All of a sudden I can't hear anything now. That's annoying. Open a window and it kills my audio settings. Thanks, Windows, I assume. Nope, you're not working either, so it's not like it died. It probably killed the music, though. Yeah, it did. Earbuds do that when they go back in the case for some reason. Doesn't change me not being able to hear it. Oh well, whatever. There we go. And then it comes back all of a sudden as weirdly as before. And the camera still is not following me. Oh. Will Poker, thank you for that resubscription. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. Welcome in, everyone. Hello there, Nan Reader. Welcome in, So Fluff. Hello, they can see me. Welcome again, Will Poker. Hello, Abby Mart. JK4T, welcome in. Hello, Muskeg. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It has actually cut out several times since then. Keeps cutting in and out. Makes me think maybe there's something wrong with this thing. Let's make some coffee first. I'm trying to make food before I even do coffee. Back on again. Yeah, well, it's the music's. What is going on with this? There's something royally screwed up with my audio tonight. I think it's the earbuds. As much as I enjoy the earbuds and as much as I think they have been of value at this point, considering I spent $30 on them, they've lasted me at least 2 years at this point. That said, I would appreciate it if they don't die. I'd like them continuing being a good value. I'm a little concerned that my dinner tonight might potentially get me somewhat sick in some form. Considering I'm going to be using a pork loin for dinner tonight, it's sitting here on the counter that I bought for $2 a pound in today's economy. Did that die already? Wow. I recharged this. These batteries just dying on me, I guess. I'm tired of dealing with it, so we're doing it live. Middle of stream. Middle of me trying to do coffee. We're gonna recharge my batteries. It's not streaming if it isn't broke, right? Shows them all as nearly dead. Oh well, guess I'm freehanding this one. So yeah, I took apart my entire NAS computer over between last stream and this one and was absolutely like stressing out. Like there are still a few things that I require. At this point, due to past things with the NAS, I've moved almost everything that I require for streaming onto the streaming PC, but there is a few things. And yeah, I was stressing that I was going to have that all set up and ready. But we're here. The truth is, I only got about halfway done and stopped because I got worried about having enough time. Yeah, we'll wait on that too. Appreciate y'all joining me tonight. I hope you've had a lovely day. Cheers. Hey, Sniper. So we're working with apple cinnamon muffins tonight. That is the challenge tonight. Oh, come on. Open. There we go. It's warm in here right now, actually. Now that you're saying that, I'm sitting here thinking, wow, I'm on verge of breaking a sweat here. Just standing here. But I'm glad weather has been well. That pan needs attention. What'd you get? Did you get a pods machine? Did you get a all-in-one? They don't seem to be doing, like, I think they sort of like tried to push the pods machines and now they don't really do them anymore. Like they sold them all now. No, we don't need to do any more of that. We're gonna give this milk a little bit of a quick warm up. Hi, Melvin. We're just bringing this up to yeast temp to about 100, 110, 100, 110. It's been a while since I've done this recipe. I've done this recipe several times on stream, though. Is it regular sugar? Yeah, regular sugar. That looks like a quart. It'll cover a quarter cup. Back in here. Yeasties in with the milk. It wasn't too bad today. I wouldn't say it was 70s, but it was probably a solid 60s day. What was I still in here for? Oh, butter. Butter. We need butter. I find the weather here, while I enjoy not being cold and wet all the time, actually a little boring. Like, I grew up in a place where it was sort of like you could see 3 seasons in a day. Melting the butter to go along with this as well, while our yeasties do their thing. Where I at now? I'm in Sonoma County. It was worse when I lived in LA, though. LA's straight up a desert. Like, they sit there and market it well, but it's a desert. And I've lived in Arizona. It may have been for winter, but I have lived in Arizona. I can say that LA is a desert. Heat off on that. Now I'm not really looking to brown it, just looking to get it all nicely melted. Actually, a fair amount of air, like, Phoenix is most certainly a desert, as is, like, the populated parts of Arizona are very deserty. Whereas you have, like, the capital, Flagstaff, like, they get proper winters. We'll do the dough first. cream our butter and sugars. I'm just kidding. This isn't a creaming method recipe. I'm just mixing them. I'm waiting for yeast to do its thing. And since tonight's... Why don't we start by doing a muffin or two in here? Oh, come on, Paige. And it doesn't show there? It used to show? What'd you do? You wouldn't hide it on me, bot? Oh well. We're in another one of those points where the bot's getting the makeover, and I'm just sort of like, well, whatever, because it's getting fixed. Alright, so we got a muffin in there. But it looks a little more like I threw a bunch of cake in there than a muffin. Do you agree? That looks a little more like cake than muffin to me. What exactly is the difference between a cake and a muffin, chat? Not sure. The size. Welcome in, Gold. Primarily in texture mixing methods, I still use a creaming method from both. And sweetness. Sweetness, I'll give it. Muffins are denser, less sweet, and closer to quick bread. Well, I think of muffins as quick bread, but most cakes are quick breads too. I guess that depends on... I guess I don't have a proper definition. I think of things that are just artificially leavened for the most part as quick breads. By artificially leavened, I mean baking soda, baking powder, some other chemical that is causing CO2 generation or what have you. Which then causes lift, fluffiness, and bubbles. You know, it's a good thing, but it sounds bad. In the most part, it's usually just acid. Yeah, we're awake here. It doesn't look very foamy, but that's gained some volume. I'm gauging whether I think I can put a second muffin in this or not. I think I'm going to go for it. I also am going to say that I'm not seeing very much apple in these muffins. There's certainly no chunks in this one. Of course, this is the cheaper store muffin. Oh, is it that time again? Ads have gone off without warning me again. Awesome. I think that'll work just fine. I'm playing a game here, partially of experience, partially just guesswork, of trying to add these muffins in which are full of flours and stuff that have been cooked and are not going to have near the gluten and structure that raw flour will in a raw dough, and having enough in there that it's noticeable that it's in there. And having the right liquid to dry mixture at the same time. And this is still a bit too wet. However, I'm going to follow this recipe as it was before, and I'm going to do the same method as they did that. And we're going to really sort of mix this almost like it's a no-knead dough, just really get it well combined. And we're going to let it do its thing for a bit. I would maybe add cinnamon or something to that, but that's already reeking of cinnamon. And I don't know if they put something that smells like cinnamon into this on top of the cinnamon. But it's got me feeling like there's enough cinnamon in there. Though I did just have a very bad idea. And I think I'm going to act upon it. So we're adding more flour. Luckily, this is a recipe that's a little more flexible on things like this. I was talking about cinnamon, and I just, after last stream, I felt I had to. So we're going to grab one of these too. Oh, I doubt it's real cinnamon. All right, that sits and proofs. Onto the pork. I got this thing in a serious bag here. I guess once we get going, it's just really thick at the top. Nope. Alright, so we're stuffing this. And so that means we're cutting essentially towards the center constantly. And then we'll do a little both of these muffins. We got the primo ones over here, and the cheapies. We'll start with one of the cheapies. I say cheapies, and both of these are more than I would want to pay for a baked good. Just putting that out there. I mean, it's... yeah. You can buy, yeah, $1 more for a pound of butter. You want... I had an odd checkout experience today. And I'm not sure what was going on. Whether someone got mad at this checker and splashed something all over him. He had some sort of personal accident, or I really don't know what was going on. I'm not trying to imply. I honestly don't. He was like half soaked, very unhappy with life, but returning to work. And like doing some weird things with a whole bunch of paper towel and stuff like that back behind the counter. That was just like, I don't even really want to know. Just check out. Just let me go. But this same guy who was sitting there struggling through, like, he very obviously, like, did not want to return to where he was there. He did not want to be there. As soon as he got to these muffins, he was just like, those muffins are amazing. They're good, whether they're hot, whether they're cold. You're going to love them. Whether they're hot, whether they're cold. Like, and he just kept, like, repeating himself as I was sitting there, like, just waiting for the receipt to print. I'm just like, yes. Awesome. I would never buy these normally. So it's a weird combination of, like, wanting him to do his job, but feeling sorry for him, whatever is going on, but not wanting to know what it... I don't know. It does not come off well at this point, saying it back, but... Okay, and then since I couldn't just go with apple cinnamon muffins... By the way, these don't really have apple in them either, apparently. I guess people don't like actual apple chunks in their muffins. Or is it the apple is the expensive part there? It's probably that. Even though back in the day they put apple in everything because it was the inexpensive. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to crumble these up and mash them into a piece of meat. I'm also going to add a little cherry to this party. In that we're going to do a cherry core, maybe? No, we can't really do a cherry core because this isn't going to roll like a core. So we're going to do a couple cherry stripes, I guess. Also, pay in mind, I'm not planning on using this jelly for jelly after this experiment. I do realize that I am taking a spoon, touching raw meat, and going directly back into a jar of something that would be, like, spread on toast. Please be mindful of things like this. I specifically tried to find a preserve. This is still spreading out pretty smooth, but I did specifically look for something that had like actual pieces of cherry in it. So there's actual chunks of cherry in there too. Anything else? Yes. We're going savory. So we need garlic. That might be good for a little acid. I haven't tried that before. I'm not going to try it tonight, though. Pondering the idea of tagine and that. While I'm wondering where my dried thyme went. I guess I only have freeze-dried thyme. I wish I could freeze-dry thyme. Pepper. Salt and pepper. Trying a Pain Purdue recipe. Baked ice cream. That what you making? Baked ice cream? All right, now we do the rolling part. Does sort of stick to the board, but I was sort of trying to use the sticking to the board to help pull it tighter. It's all trying to ooze out. Now you see people make slip knots all the time and call them butcher knots. That's a butcher's knot. Well, that's one half of a butcher's knot, as I was taught. You do a simple square knot, but you fold it 3 times so that you pull it, it holds taut. It doesn't slip back. You can let go, do whatever you want. You come back with a second, pulls it even tighter, locks it. Did that wrong. Wrong side of the loop. Cheating on the end here, I cut myself a little short a piece of string. Just a little too short on that one. Fine, we'll do it this way. Make it way more complicated than it needs to be. Sheet pan parchment. We're just gonna bake this thing. Huh? I didn't say that, captions. What's going on here? Oh, that's what happened. I bumped the pan forward, and it switched to the angled camera, which is over here. Yeah, right there. And it's off. So yeah, that didn't work very well when the pan slid into the stream deck. Oops. Hi, Zahara. All right, so let's take a paper towel and wipe off the outside here, try and get any of this excess filling off of our incredibly cheap pork. Ridiculously cheap pork. It has me wondering what the heck happened to this poor thing. That they marked it down like that. Salt on the outside. pepper. Set this over on the stove to sit for a moment while the oven preheats. Dough's doing okay. Let's give my hands a proper wash up here. I need to stop touching things. My hand's still being funky. So we got our pork pretty much set and ready to go in the oven. That's obviously going to take a while to roast up, but let's get an estimate. Let's see what it says. Let's see, we got this going. This needs to chill for a bit. Prep some taters. All right, I'm going ahead and throw it in there. The oven isn't quite the temp yet, but set a timer for 45 minutes, but I know it's probably going to take longer than that. It's probably going to take at least an hour. The 45 minutes is because I'm not going to bother throwing a thermometer in there until it's closer. And so since we're going sort of sweet somewhat simple with our pork. I'm going to go a little crazy with the potatoes. That's what I used it for. It's like I used a bowl for something. Where's the bowl I used? And I don't know if I really want to do this in this giant bowl. I guess I will. Moisty. Cooking oil. Salt. Pepper. MSG. That wasn't where I was going. I was going over here. And chili powder. This might be a mistake. Let's throw a little garlic in there too. And onion. More onion than garlic. Those don't want to turn. Those don't want to flip, so we'll give them a little encouragement. So I got taters ready to go in the oven and get them all roasty, and they're probably gonna turn a little dark and almost burnt looking from the mustard. I don't care, it's gonna be tasty. Might be ugly on the plate. I don't care, it's gonna be tasty. We'll let those hang out for a bit like that. Getting closer to wanting to deal with this, but I want to give this still another 20 minutes or so. What I should do is bother with this here. We only want like a quarter of this thing tonight. So, put the rest back in the fridge. Where do you store your cream cheese, chat? In your refrigerator. You put it in the cheese drawer? You put it with the butter? You just put it on the shelf? I sort of bounce between put it on the shelf and put it in the butter compartment. I just threw it in the butter compartment now, despite my butter compartment being a bit packed right now. It's got both Kerrygold and clover in there. I guess it's got two types of clover now, because I got clover sour cream too, or cream cheese. Where do you put your sour cream? A little whiskey, a little bourbon. This is getting milk and a few other things to thin it out here. Putting that out there right now that, yes, I realize this is too stiff for a frosting. But I'm trying to mix all of the cream cheese and sugar mostly together before we loosen it up, in hopes of reducing clumpage, which will probably still happen because it's impossible without like a stand mixer to sit there and beat on it to get powdered sugar fully dissolved. Based off of what I've done so far, does anyone have a guess what I'm doing for my dessert tonight? No, but you could call it a close competitor. I'm not sure how many muffin competitors out there have chains dedicated to them. There's a few. I'm not making donuts. Not making cookies. My earbud does seem to be working a lot better after a little while. It just needed to warm up, I guess. No, but cupcakes would be fitting for Sonoma County. That's because one of the major cupcake, I don't want to say chains because it never really made it to be a chain, but they were definitely a big fad. There were a couple of them in the last 10-15 years, but one of them was here in Sonoma County. I think they still have a store in Santa Rosa. I don't go through that part of town very often. It's like right downtown. I try to avoid downtown Santa Rosa. Actually, I try to avoid downtown, period. It doesn't really matter what city. Give this 10 seconds in the microwave to loosen up a little bit. Hopefully everyone's having a good week. Any exciting midweek ordeals. Hopefully no one had to input a supplemental. It's a little thin, but I think it'll be fine. I didn't add the butter in this. There's typically a little bit of butter in this too. Filling the ice on Monday, had a tooth repaired today. Pretty tough. Wow. Yeah. Ooh. And when you said fell on the ice, now that I'm thinking, I'm realizing that's like probably like on sidewalk, on driveway. My initial thought when someone said fell on the ice was I was like, oh, you're skating. That was probably much worse than falling while skating. I wish you a better week from here on out. Thank you, JK. Greatly appreciate the resub. For 24 months. See those alerts back to working again, partially. Somewhat. They at least know people get sprinkles from announcing their subscriptions. Poke. Driveway didn't realize snow melted during the weekend. Froze again. Got covered. Yeah. Yeah. It's a bummer when you're driving. Like, black ice is... Like, black ice usually forms, like, under snow, too. So it's like... No, you new YouTube members. Boo. Thank you, Muskie. So we've now given that pork almost 20 minutes. I'm thinking we're going to give it that full 45. We'll insert the thermometer and we'll add the pork or potatoes down in the oven with the pork at that point. I guess we can go with our second roll on this. I say roll, and this is when we're going to do some actual kneading of some form. Another half cup of flour in there. For those unfamiliar with what you're doing when you're sitting here just mashing a dough and you're like, what am I doing? Is this actually even doing anything? Why is this? What? Why am I wasting my time doing this? You have your gluten in the dough, and naturally, as it's formed or sits there in ground flour, it's often coiled or sort of balled up. You can sort of picture it microscopically balled or coiled, and millions and millions and millions and millions of these in this dough ball. Well, maybe not millions and millions, but there's a whole lot of them. And as we're massaging this dough, we're hopefully working those coils into more of like a mesh, something a little bit more along the lines of cotton, but filled with mud. And making sort of like a muddy web that traps the gases being produced by the dough as it cooks, and that's what gives you your rise. But you gotta sit here and play games with it until it sort of starts holding together on its own. And as I was saying earlier, because I'm adding these pre-cooked muffins into this dough, I'm playing this game of having already cooked flour that has that gluten developed, which doesn't help us much now, and it just being a loose blob. Wash the dough off my hands here. We'll let that hang out a little bit longer. Now that I broke a sweat. You're nice and soft. We can get going with you while we're waiting on that dough, though. Well, we can get started with that. it's not going to take long enough. Handle the entire dough time. I'm going to add a little vanilla in with this as we go to an ad break. Ginger, cardamom, Now can anyone guess? I can't do that over here. You can see me now. I can't. Been working with all sorts of various protein powders, trying to make something super protein rich snacks. Most of them, yeah. Well, that's sort of the problem. Most proteins don't do well like that. I would actually probably go and rely off, and what I've done in the past is if I want to do a snack that's based off of proteins, I start with some sort of protein-based snack, such as like Magic Spoon or something like that, where there's several different brands out there that are doing like milk solid cereals or some other form of dairy-based cereals, which is sort of funny. It's a little like calling nut juice milk, calling milk solids cereal. Regardless, there are people making cereal-like products from milk solids. And that's where I would start with that sort of a thing. Other than that, basically you're sort of stuck with a lot of things where you're basically just going to add the powder to it. So like custards, puddings, stuff along that line. Ice cream. They got 1,000,001 protein ice creams too already available made though. And I'm not a fan of a lot of them to begin with, because a lot of them are just they're simplifying the process even more now. Let's just, instead of feeding the soy to the animals and then selling you the beef, we're just going to sell you the soy powder. I think it's doesn't hold a lot of nutritional oomph. I don't think it follows. That's my problem with a lot of these like unnatural things. It's not that they aren't doing most of it. It's that 20% that they're doing to either in the process or to simplify things or to cheapen things, that it just doesn't give you the whole picture. There's so much more, like, yeah. I'm conflating a whole lot of subjects there. But I don't like that about GMOs. I don't like that about, like, you're taking, ooh, that one little thing works, and you lose everything else that goes along with it and why it was created in the first place. Peanut butter chocolate bread with pea protein. It tastes great. It's just dry on its own. That's not necessarily because of the pea protein. It may be because you just added the pea I don't know if you followed a recipe for that. If you just added it on top, which would be not a great idea. Or if you tried to substitute it in. I would suggest doing a recipe that has something along the line. One of those bread recipes that has, say, applesauce or some other, banana bread like I made the other night. Something with a moistening component to it that's going to keep things moist. I know you all love that word, but you could add a whole bunch of fat, but I have a feeling you're trying to avoid the fat if you're going after protein. That's doing the same thing that I'm doing tonight, too, though. Like, you're adding that pea protein in there, which protein does have a little bit of a binding ability, especially when it cooks. I don't know about pea proteins and the flours and them, how much of a binding they have, but that pork is going to bind where it touches together when it cooks. But I don't know about the powders and stuff like that, how they react so much. But you're doing essentially the same thing. You're adding something into the flour that's going to lessen its gluten, lessen its hold, its matrix, and it's a balancing act. I should point out, chat, that I'm also not typically a cook your pork absolutely well done kind of guy. If I'm doing a solid hunk of pork, sometimes I'm not stuffing it like I am tonight. I might even just go medium rare on it. I'm going 160 tonight. Stuffing, first off, it's probably a good plan to go full temp on it. But even without that, like I said, cheapo pork tonight. And so, hoping that we're definitely going to cook it all the way done just to make sure that not making ourselves sick. I really hope I'm not making myself sick. And there's a whole bunch of different options for that skeleton. It doesn't have to be, like I mentioned, applesauce and bananas, but you can do pineapple, cherries. There's a smorgasbord of options. What's cheapo pork? A whole pork loin at $2 a pound, which could be even cheaper, but for me, that's cheapo pork. I wouldn't have called that cheapo pork, say, 3 years ago. It's the first time in maybe, I don't know, 2 years that I've seen my slideshow actually go through all the way and show the thanks for following vid at the end. Like, it's been showing this blank screen with the frame for like a year and a half now because overlay issues. A lot of the stuff in my OBS I activate and deactivate through WebSocket. And so I have a ton of stuff on my screen that's just not, it's hidden. And it just gets animated by the bot, or in the past it was streamer bot, or. But with the WebSocket, there's some really funkiness over timings, and some, like, for some reason, there's some things that, and it has something to do with groups too in OBS, which are like the folders in OBS. They do not, there's certain things that I just don't like working on. And I just, for ages, could not get those 4-foot images to ever show. Bot's doing it fine now, but StreamerBot just wouldn't do it to me. Back to the pork comment. I also prefer my pork not well done. I actually eat it more on the rare side. My pork chops medium rare when I do bar. Yep. If it's a solid hunk of meat, yeah, good cared for, quality piece of pork, yeah, give it to me medium rare. It's certainly not the 1970s anymore. 1970s and before, you had pretty rampant issues with undercooked pork. Now we do better at keeping the pigs out of their own stuff, and through standardized farming practices. And so those issues are no longer Like, there's a couple of them a year type thing now versus a regular thing. Oh, we still get warm. I don't know how much... I'm going to repeat it, but I don't know how much there is behind this. I have heard before that up to 1/3 of humans, when they're autopsied, have some sort of worm or parasite that was feeding off of what they were feeding off of. I think there's a lot of people that have worms that are just feeding off of their insides. Tencosis trichinosis a year, and most of it's from bear. Yep, that sounds about what I thought it was. And I couldn't remember how to say the name, but I knew it started with a T. Alright, let's look at our pork. It's been in there for 45 minutes. Well, it's been in there in a heating up oven for 45 minutes. Definitely starting to get there. And the thickest part. Currently reading 122 in the center. So we got a ways to go still. And we're going back down in. All right, got the timer or alarm set for 155 on that. And actually, the probe has gone down since I put it in there. It started at 122. It moved down to 110. Hello, Mimic. And I'm debating if it's... I think it's a little early to throw these potatoes in there. So I'm going to hold off on those. I'm going to deal with dessert. Starting by flouring my counter. I am sort of sad that there wasn't, like, chunks of apple in either of these muffins. Like, I was really hopeful for some actual, like, apple chunks. So we got our seasoned butter all coating the top. All the way out to the edges. Light pinch of salt. And one more muffin. We're working on dessert, which I still haven't revealed what it is, but I would hope some people have figured it out at this point. I almost feel like I can fit another one on there. Let's put one of the fancy ones on there. Looks better than this one. I gotta be honest, these ones that are supposedly so much better and look like they have so much more on them, when you break them apart with your hands, these are a lot breadier. These are not nearly as soft of a muffin is it doesn't have nearly, like, this is like chomping on sort of what I'm making. Or the little, like, monkey bread in a muffin tin. Yeah, we're making cinnamon buns from cinnamon apple. Using the string to cut the dough. That way it pulls evenly somewhat around the whole piece and it doesn't squish it. Okay, we're definitely throwing these in there. Potatoes going in with the pork now. We're now up to 123 on the pork, so we're rapidly increasing temp. Already gained 10-15 degrees since I guess I gotta clean this out. Don't know what that is. It's stuck on my pan. I don't want it in my cinnamon rolls. My apple cinnamon muffins cinnamon rolls. Do you say cinnamon twice in this to specify that it's like a cinnamon roll? Or are they just apple cinnamon rolls? Apple cinnamon muffin rolls? Yeah, I have to be honest, Chad. I think the cheap muffins, while they're not anything to write home about, are better than the primo ones. Sorry. Nope, that's not going to work either. We're black when I'm messing with flour again. It's... Tried to dry this out in the stove and didn't think of the fact that, oh, hey, I'm going to put pastry on this. I want that to be not super hot. Let's have it try and... That's dirty now, too. Oh, awesome. We lost our batteries, too. Because I needed that aggravation. Oh, hush. And put the battery cover back on. Okay. Sorry for the beeping. That was not my plan. Glazy enough? Heat is amazing. Like, I can feel the heat. Like, it's not hot. I'm obviously sitting here holding my hand on it, but I can feel the heat being transferred into this pan from the bottom pan below it. It's getting warmer, too. Hi, Ozzy. No worries. So, that is 2 ounces of cream cheese, half cup of powdered sugar, a healthy splash of bourbon, pinch of salt maybe? I don't think I put salt in that. I did put salt on the actual roll itself, but... I'm going with it. We get all sorts of booze in this dessert. We have Red Hot, in with the cinnamon apple muffins in the dough. We've got bourbon in the glaze. I just cleaned this counter. Don't think this last muffin's getting used tonight. And put it up there on the shelf with the banana bread. So we now gotta let these sit and poof a third time while that stuff's in the oven. The pork is currently sitting at 135. But I guess I will also take this moment in time to point out we have a new vote going on in the Discord for next Wednesday. So next week is going to be either dill pickles or Marmite / Vegemite. Probably gonna have to buy more because I'm scraping the jar of my Vegemite if that wins. Here I was thinking I'd never, like I bought 2 jars of Vegemite the last time. I was like, this is gonna last me for ages. Didn't last me for ages. They're making a small comeback. You gotta have hope. And I know this is the second time around for you on dill pickles with this. Dill pickles just getting the short end of the cucumber. Yeah, I see you, Ozzy. But if you would like to have your own suggestions added in, the channel just below that is the ingredient suggestions channel, where you can add your own ideas for me to have to do. The ones with the most votes and the oldest are the ones chosen for the main vote. I'm gonna get myself some water, because I'm hot. Not just looking. What about all the cool foods we share? Yeah, that's cool, but it doesn't cool me down. Ozzy, are you saying you... Yeah, it was a bit too warm for me to put those rolls in there. I saw it there a moment ago. It's a little glossy. You can see a little of the butter is soaking out of these into the pan. Not too much. I think it'll be fine, but it's more than I want at the same time. Refreshing lemonade. You know, I have to be honest, I don't know if I find lemonade to be refreshing. Lemonade is either way too sour or way too sweet. Like, it's never... Like, the only way it's ever, ooh, that's refreshing, is it's the only form of liquid available for a half mile in the middle of the sun. And I say that as someone who used to make and sell lemonade. I sold something entirely too sweet to be refreshing. Kids loved it though. Stuffed bell peppers, garlic and butter, broccoli, and a salad. You broccoli and a salad, Ozzy? Welcome to Fiber Town. Buena Vaza. I know Stone Brewing. What's this, Buena Vaza? Buena Vaza? If you're still out there, Ozzy. Do I try and do all three in there at once? Yeah, we're going all three at once in the oven. Nope, no we're not. At least not yet. I need to do some rearranging. It's a lime Mexican lager. That was supposed to be smooth and cool looking. Super high winds. Well, at least hopefully it's giving you a little bit of entertainment. Hopefully you didn't have to break out the candles too and you just lost your internet for a little bit. Thank you, Ozzy. That was good, yeah. What was I going to do? I lost track of mind when I got done flipping this thing. I think I was just putting this away, to be honest. So I think this is probably another good time for a breather here. Unfortunately, we just got knowledge back. We got about 20 minutes here. We have our cinnamon apple, those mysteriously seeming to lack apple muffin cinnamon rolls, our cinnamon apple muffin stuffed pork loin, and our mustard and chili potatoes are all in the oven for at least another 20 minutes. I shouldn't say at least. We're doing temperature-wise on the pork, but we got a solid 10 degrees still to go there. Plus a few. And so I think I'm going to take about a 15-minute breather here. I did, Abby Mart. I moved the pork. It took me a moment. I guess it wasn't really that long as far as stream was concerned, and so maybe announcing it like it was a big ordeal didn't sound... But I had to switch the pan. It was in sideways, and I had to 90 degree it. And technically, muffins were already in the oven. I was adding more muffins in the form of rolls. All right, let's do a little bit of an AFK here. I will see all of you folks back here in 10 to 15.
Hey, kids, look what's new. A brand new cereal just for you. Twinkles, the new star-shaped cereal in the storybook package. See? Inside, delicious, crispy, crinkly stars. And outside, a real storybook. All about Twinkles, the magic elephant. See him fly with his rotor tail. Watch him do tricks with his magic trunk. Meet Twinkle's friends, Fulton the inventor, Sanford the parrot, Wilbur the monkey, and more. Read all about their adventures on every storybook package of Twinkle's. And wait till you taste those golden little stars, filled with the goodness of energy oats and corn. Remember, only Twinkle's has the storybook package. Just tear the magic line and your storybook opens. Twinkle's, the new star-shaped cereal in the storybook package.
Now, a new creation from Seal Test. Cottage cheese in ready-to-serve portions. Handy envelopes bring you brand new convenience and ease. Zip, it's open, quick and neat. Just the amount you need, the easy way to serve cottage cheese. The rest stays moist and creamy, ready for next time.
Are they handy? Cottage cheese in ready-to-serve portions.
So easy to use, quick, and no bother at all.
The rest stays really fresh, moist, and creamy.
Yes, serving cottage cheese was never as easy as this. Seal Test's new square package with handy, ready-to-serve portions. Zip, it's open, simple as can be. The rest stays moist and creamy fresh. You'll love Seal Test cottage cheese in new, ready-to-serve portions. Get some soon.
Next week, George and Gracie will be brought to you by Carnation.
Hiya, happy boy. Wish you'd been with me today. We saw a great dog show, some beautiful dogs. There was the handsomest poodle, a real beauty, an international champion. His owner gave me some good advice.
There are many dog foods on the market, but the Carnation Company makes the best. It's called Friskies, and it's quality all the way through.
You should have seen the champion collie. He won everything in sight. The handler told me.
A very important part of this champion's diet is meat. That's why we feed him Friskies. The principal ingredient is lean red horse meat, the best you can buy.
So happy, you're getting real quality, and you're going to get your Friskies right now.
Friskies is prepared to the high standards of Carnation Company and guarantees prime-grade nourishment.
Here's an amazing free offer for everyone who's overweight. Even if you've tried other methods and failed, you can still lose ugly fat fast. Yes, thousands can tell you that calometric control is the only safe, sure, effective way to reduce. Now, this package contains the Wonder 10-Day Diet that gives you 3 delicious meals a day, plus a bedtime snack, even includes a jog for your willpower. Yet you take only 3 calometric tablets a day. And here's the sensational free offer. A 30-day supply of wonderful calometric tablets. A certified $3.50 value when you buy the regular calometric way to weight control. You save $3.50. Now, that's a $7 value for only $3.50. A 50% saving. And how can you get your free bottle of calometric tablets? Well, just send in this calometric box top with your name and address. Your druggist will give you a postage-paid envelope already addressed to the calometric company. Now, don't lose hope, lose weight. Get calometric reducing formula at your drugstore. Send the box top in the free postage-paid envelope. Get your $3.50 bottle of calometric tablets free. Don't wait, act now.
Alexis Lachine wines are full of flavor. Alexis Lachine wines are dry. Alexis Lachine wines are mellow. Drink an Alexis Lachine wine with any kind of food. Or anytime you feel like relaxing with a drink. Alexis Lachine, fine French wines.
What? Keeping the coffee in the icebox?
Yes, Mr. Jones, it's a new kind of coffee, roasted by a new secret process. Hence, this new none-such coffee has a different flavor, a flavor preserved by vacuum packing, the flavor retained by refrigeration after the jar has been opened. Just taste it. You can't miss that delicate aroma, that clean, mellow taste. Yes, in cooking, the way to a man's heart is most of all through the coffee pot. In every jar, you'll find 3 special pointers, valuable in all methods of making coffee. Try new none-such coffee now. Use half the jar. If not 100% satisfied, Get all your money back from your grocer without argument. Special for movie week, only 28 cents a pound, plus 3 cents refundable deposit on the jar.
Yes, sir. If you want real entertainment, the best place to find it is in front of a General Electric Black Daylight big-as-life television set. Sports, comedy, drama, news, music. Yes, they're all yours, merely at the turn of a dial. This model has a big 16-inch black rectangular tube that lets you see everything that the camera sees, true to life and as big as life. Sparkling contrast and sharp focus give you pictures of such clarity that you feel you're right there on the scene. The cabinet, designed and constructed by America's leading cabinet makers, fits gracefully into any type of room. Genuine mahogany veneers, hand-rubbed for lasting beauty and durability, are just one example of the painstaking attention to every detail, which makes this cabinet one that you'll be proud to have in your home. The precision engineering and careful assembly techniques used in making this General Electric Black Daylight television set are your assurance of television at its finest. See it in operation at your General Electric dealers tomorrow. And when you see it, well, you'll know that you're seeing the best.
Something different for a change? Then try the perfect refreshment, Chili Dilly. So, too, there's no waste. You eat every bit of the juicy goodness of Chili Dilly. How about trying one right now? Chili Dilly, on sale at our concession stand. You'll love them.
Satisfying cups of pleasure. A coffee break makes the moment right. Fresh aroma, friendly flavor. Make it coffee, make it often, make it right.
To brighten any moment.
Make it coffee.
To enjoy that fresh aroma.
Make it often.
Make it up fresh each time in a clean container. And for full flavor,
make it right.
And here's how. For each cup of fresh drawn water, use one approved measure of your favorite coffee. That's all, one approved measure per cup.
Satisfying cups of pleasure. A coffee break makes the moment bright. Fresh aroma, friendly flavor. Make it coffee. Make it often. Make it right.
Now, at your favorite grocery store, the most amazing food wrap ever developed, Saran Wrap.
Have you tried Saran Wrap? It really is amazing. Saran Wrap is crystal clear plastic. It keeps everything you wrap in plain sight. And look, Saran Wrap clings like magic. It makes a neat package of anything you wrap, without strings or tape or rubber bands. Foods stay fresh far longer and taste better, too, because the flavor is locked in. Now you can prepare sandwiches for picnics and lunch boxes ahead of time and be sure they'll stay fresh and tasty. You see, Saran Wrap is a wonderful time saver as well as a food saver. Prove it in your own kitchen. Buy a roll of Saran Wrap today and you won't be without it again.
Get Saran Wrap at your grocer's. Saran Wrap is a product of the Dow Chemical Company.
Well, no wonder my laundry bill is so high. All those napkins last week.
Doeskin.
What?
You should use Doeskin dinner napkins.
Paper napkins? Oh, no.
I don't mean thin little paper napkins, but Doeskin dinner napkins. You'll love them.
Everybody loves Doeskin dinner napkins. These soft linen-like napkins are 2-ply in smart formal fold, in white and in beautiful pastel colors. And Doeskin dinner napkins are big. They cover your whole lap, and they stay put. What's more, they last throughout the meal, and they leave no lint.
They are nice. And they would save my linen.
They save you money, too. Doeskin dinner napkins cost only 49 cents for 5 dozen. That's a fraction of a penny apiece.
All right, Dottie.
You'll find Doeskin dinner napkins, Doeskin facial tissues, and other Doeskin products at your favorite grocery, supermarket, department store, or drugstore. Look for the brown dispenser box.
Doeskin.
Univac, the giant electronic brain made only by Remington Rand, takes business statistics from magnetic tape, letters, numbers, and punctuation marks, processing them through its electronic circuits at phenomenal speeds. Univac can compute payrolls electronically, then produce printed checks in a flash. Over 8,000 checks an hour with this high-speed printer. Univac leads the field of electronic computing.
If you're still watching television on a small screen set, you're missing a lot. Here, for example, is a close-up on a 10-inch set. See how much smaller it is than my head? Now I'd like to show you the same close-up on a 21-inch set. There. Just look at the difference. She's as big as I am now. You can have big screen close-ups just like that. Close-ups as large as life with RCA Victor's great new 21-inch model, the Master 21, at the lowest 21-inch price in RCA Victor history, as little as $199.95. Visit your RCA Victor dealer soon. See television's greatest value, the Master 21, big screen 21-inch quality TV for $199.95. And remember, every year, more people buy RCA Victor than any other television.
All right, I'm back a couple minutes early here. But that's because our pork is getting to temp. Turn the music back on. Let's pull out this pork. That's looking yummy. Potatoes looking good. Rolls looking okay. That is an interesting definition. What's up with that, Wiki? Actually, it's one of 3 potential sources. But Wiki is most likely. I believe that's what it's checking first. It's sort of like check for a definition. If there's nothing, go to the next one. If there's nothing, go to the next one. If there's nothing, that. That pork looking nice. Got a little nice color on this end. I mean, all that burnt stuff on the pan is just mostly the cherry juice that leaked out and burnt. Got about another 2 minutes here still on our rolls. Well, actually probably got about 7 minutes on the rolls because I'm going to give them the full time. So, and I'm going to give the potatoes that time too. So you get to stare at my pork for a little bit. You like my loin? No one really had any response to me calling this cheap pork at $2 a pound, and I'm wondering if that's because people don't think that's cheap or think that's. Ooh. Is that Raiders I hear? Hello, Raiders. Welcome in, everyone. Hello, I'm Chef Jay Tay. Thank you for the raid, Lumping Laura. Greatly appreciated. What you been up to? What you all coming from? Welcome in, Elka. Hello, Punch Monster. Hello, Scuba Cat. Welcome, 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 welcome. We're working with apple cinnamon muffins tonight. For anyone new in here, I do a weekly challenge here on Wednesdays. I have a constant vote going on in my Discord. And the current ingredient for tonight is, like I said, apple cinnamon muffins. That means I have to use apple cinnamon muffins as a part of dinner and dessert. So sweet and savory. So what you're looking there on the stove is that bubbling hunk of meat there is a pork tenderloin that has been stuffed with crumbled apple cinnamon apple muffins, as well as a cherry spread. It had bits of cherry in there, but it was pretty spready. So we got a cherry apple cinnamon stuffing to our pork. I've got diced potatoes roasting in the oven. Those diced potatoes I've tossed with oil, good old regular yellow mustard, and chili. A little bit of MSG, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of onion. That's all in the oven too for our side dish, roasty, spicy for the sweet pork. And then lastly, for our sweet end, I have taken apple cinnamon muffins and turned them into cinnamon rolls. And so we have a large cast iron pan of cinnamon rolls in the oven. And what you're seeing here on the cutting board is a cream cheese, powdered sugar, and bourbon glaze for over the top. I did just pull that pork out to rest. It's actually risen about 5 degrees since I pulled it out of the oven. It's still reading 165 in the center if you're worried about it getting cold. I did go, and also, I've talked about this earlier. Normally, if it's a nice solid hunk of pork, I will happily go medium rare. This is budget pork it's budget pork, and it's stuffed, and so we're going full cooked here. Portuguese olive oil bundt cake in the oven. I built some Lego succulents. Nice. Sounds like a fun stream. How many are those Lego plant? I know they have a couple of it. Is there a whole bunch of Lego plants out there, or is it just a couple of them? I don't buy Lego, and I actually haven't watched Star Trek in other than a few odd occasions in probably about a decade. At the same time, I was a little bit looking at that next generation Star Trek Lego thing until I saw it was $800. But They had my interest there for a moment. This set came with 9, but they're tiny. A couple of orchids. Okay. Let's see what we got in the oven to go along with our pork. We can definitely take the taters out. The taters are done. I still want to give those another couple minutes. Those are looking nice. Not quite there. So we'll go ahead and put dinner together while the rolls are doing a couple more minutes. You'll work. Oh yeah, that's tasty. Yeah. Brain had to stop there and process that for a second. Like, the flavors there are interesting. You can still sort of taste the muffin part of it. Yeah, I'm just throwing them all on there. Ozzy went heavy on the veggies tonight. I guess we're going light on them. I could have probably used some broccoli or something with this. So you can see for our stuffing there, we have our cherry mixture along with our apple cinnamon muffin. That is in there soaking up all of that delicious pork juice as it cooks. I could have used a salad with this too. I was actually trying to think of ideas that I could do for salads and turn them into croutons and things like that. I was thinking of ideas I could do with salmon. Most of the salmon stuff turned into like breakfasty like things that I didn't really want to go into. Most of that was more like smoked salmon rather than the salmon I have in my freezer too. Which is the real reason I was thinking of salmon was, how can we mix these together and use up the salmon I have in my freezer? And my mind just went straight to like different combinations of smoked salmon and breakfast. Alright, so there is that. Let's see how these rolls turned out. A little light brown for where I would like them still. But they've filled out the pan nicely. And so these are, there is both apple cinnamon muffin mixed into the dough, but also into the like center of the rolls. So it's twice in there. There's half a bottle of Fireball in the muffin dough, which is maybe the reason for it being lighter. But there's a couple of muffins in the muffin dough. And I do want to just pour this all over the top in the middle of stream right now. But that's a horrible idea. As much as it would look awesome for about 10 seconds on camera, these are entirely too hot to have anything thrown on the top of them for a while. Unless you're doing it and serving it. If you're pouring over the top and immediately serving all of them, go at it. It's probably gonna break, but you have at it. I am unfortunately going to wait on these to cool before I pour glaze over the top. However, I will probably do a video of that with my phone for the Discord. Especially since these came out looking, while I would like they have a little more color than they do now, they turned out pretty nice. And yeah, they have some decent color on the underside. They're nice golden on the underside. Yeah. I don't know if that came. Can you see that on camera? Can you see the golden there? I can't work it that much. I'm already breaking it. Brown. Beauty of cast iron. So we'll allow all of this to cool down and rest, and then we'll put the glaze over the top of that. Let's get a photo or two here. What's everyone think? Do I pass the grade on using apple cinnamon muffins as a ingredient? Thank you, Sophanasi. Wait until you get that turned just a little bit more. Maybe should have served it like that. Show that scene there. This isn't too large of a portion, but that's a pretty nice demonstration of what we got going on there. End piece, that'd be a pretty nice cut. Unfortunately, this is where I think we are going to call it for this fine evening. For those new in, hello. I'll be back here on Friday. I stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. So Sunday, Monday, back to back. We're going to be having some fun with some Chicago foods and rewarding our photo contest winner of the month. We have a monthly contest in Discord for posting food photos. JK won this week, or this month, last month. And so we're doing Chicago beef subs, and doing Vesuvio potatoes. So there's the plans for Friday. Sunday, we're starting a new theme. Sundays, I'm going to be doing dinners based off of the states and U.S. territories for the next 50 plus Sundays. And so we're starting with Alabama on Sunday, doing some smoked white chicken hindquarters with a white gravy or white barbecue sauce, and a lane cake, which is a boozy walnut, cherry, and something else topped cake. Raisins. So that is Sunday. Let's see who's out there in Twitch land tonight. Nope, nothing there for me to see. Is Twitch gonna recommend anyone? We're down to Twitch recommending. No, it seems like it might have been a bit of a quiet night out there, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up right here. I'm just gonna wrap up dinner, or wrap up the stream, and say I hope to see you all back here on Friday. I hope you have a great finish to your week. Good night.